Hey man, what it is? This is Deem, and I am your host, and this is By Any Means Necessary. There go to Cash App, $ Deem by any means. There go to PayPal at Deem by any means. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. I don't care if you leave $1, $10, $1,000. It is much, much, much appreciated. Y'all know it's a lot of people that do YouTube that talk boxing, but I think we all can agree, don't nobody do it like Dean. Every manager Marty, he talk about the business of boxing and bring that elegance to it. You got my man Knockout Boxing over there that bring the facts and bring straight data and bring stuff that you can't really refute. Got my guy Greg Hackett that give you the behind the scenes and the actual in-depth perspective. You got the big dog for nine, who intellectually, you might want to stay away from that brother. I'm gonna just be honest. He's a very intelligent. I'm pretty sure his IQ is very, very high. You can't get nothing past for nine. And then you got Dean. Then you got me, where all of these fellas bring the real. And other boxing channels too, Upper Echelon, D-Town Boxing, Crown Jewel Boxing, Just Do. Oh yeah, my guy Just Do brings the smoothness and keep calm waters in this boxing thing. If you want to have a real conversation, there is not a better person in boxing to have a conversation with than my guy Just Do Boxing. But then you got Dean. And I already know my passion, my energy, my humor is unmatched. That's what I bring to this. That y'all know when y'all listen to me, you're going to get probably a perspective you haven't heard nobody else say, or people not willing to say it. And that's okay. Not the way I'm going to say it. This is hypocrisy at its finest, y'all. This is hypocrisy at its finest, and let me tell you why. This is something can't nobody refute. I don't care what type of boxing fan you are. If Jaronennis turned down 12x his biggest payday to fight Bud Crawford, y'all crucifying. Let's talk, Dean. Sorry, y'all got the hiccups. Let's talk, Dean. Is anybody out there going to refute that if Jaronennis turned down a fight with Bud Crawford for 12 times the amount that he's gotten paid, that y'all would just give him the same excuses and be so understanding like y'all are with Brian Norman Jr.? F-O-H. That's why Brian Norman Jr. is a damn duck. Because if Jaronennis did the same thing to Terence Crawford, y'all wouldn't be understanding. You know what arguments you would make? Dean, Jaron turning down his biggest payday. I thought he really wanted to fight. Who else he going to fight that's going to garnish him that type amount of money? Bud's the A side. He need to just take the opportunity. It's so funny how with Brian Norman Jr., who's not half the name that Shakur Stevenson is, everybody was telling Shakur to just take the offer and get the opportunity when it came to Devin, even though that offer was totally fake. But when it comes to Brian Norman Jr., it's give the man more money and just give him what he wants if you actually want to fight him. See, y'all, this is the Bud Crawford effect. The only reason why Jaronennis is getting this pushback on any type level is because he's a threat to Bud Crawford. So people who are Bud fans look for anything to try to down Jaron Boots Ennis. Why? Because he's the biggest threat to Terence Crawford. Same thing Shakur Stevenson and Devin fans do to gervontadavis. Same exact thing. Jaronennis would not get that excuse if it was Bud Crawford and he was the B-side now. But Brian Norman gets all this understanding. There ain't nothing you can say to me that will convince me that if Jaronennis turned down his biggest payday and we found out it was 10 times more than what he got paid to fight Bud Crawford, it wouldn't be a YouTube channel out here that wouldn't call him a duck. It's funny, y'all, because when Jaron was trying to fight Crawford, everybody was saying, Boots, you the B-side. You got to do what it takes to make the fight happen. That's Bud. He got this going on. Blase, blase, blah. He ain't got to fight you. He the A-side. Then when it comes to Brian Norman Jr., y'all tell Boots, who's the just as much of an A-side that Terrence is, Boots is to Brian Norman Jr. You know what y'all would say? Y'all still telling Boots he got to do this to make the fight, offer more money. So hold on. When he's the B side, it's on him to make the fight, and when he's the A side, it's on him to make the fight as well. Why wasn't none of y'all telling Bud to offer Jaronennis more money? Why wasn't none of y'all telling Bud that he should fight Boots? Because that's his biggest fight. He not gonna get that money nowhere else, and it's proven fact. Tell me who Terence Crawford is going to fight that's going to garnish him a bigger payday than Jaronennis right now. You don't have a fighter like that. What you want to say, Earl Smith? Earl Smith's about to fight Fundora, and we don't even know if Earl Smith's going. First of all, we don't even know how that fight's going to look. Second of all, we have no idea what Earl Smith would do after that fight. Oh yeah, y'all. Terence Crawford turned down Boots Ennis again for the third time. Recently, he turned them down. Y'all not gonna hold him accountable for that. You know what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna make excuses for Bud. Say, well, Bud's on the end of his career. Blase, blase, blah. He's the A side. But then when I tell you that Boots the A side, y'all try to tell me that Brian Norman Jr. is too young. So for Bud, it's he's too old. For Brian Norman Jr., it's he's too young. Y'all scared to death of Jaronennis, man. Because deep down inside, I know all of you Earthmen know how good that boy is. So what y'all would rather do, instead of y'all finding out and being wrong, y'all would just rather avoid it all the way together. That's the same thing Terence Crawford's doing. But we hold Canelo Alvarez feet to the fire for not fighting David Benavidez when Canelo Alvarez has done way more than Terence Crawford. In the ring and outside of the ring. Terence Crawford don't got a Floyd Mayweather's on his resume. Just saying. Terence Crawford ain't got a Floyd Mayweather on his resume. Matter of fact, Terence Crawford don't got a Triple G on his resume neither. Because if you let people ask people, that was the worst Earl Spence. We haven't seen Earl Spence since then, and he didn't look like Earl Spence that night. But we hold Canelo feet to the fire. Canelo still got to fight the best. When Canelo deserves more excuse to duck than everybody because he has the best resume in boxing. But we don't give him that excuse. Hypocrisy at its finest. So Boots the A side, is his fault the fight not happening. He needs to do more. When he was the B side, it is his fault the fight not happening. He needs to do more. What it sounds like is Boots can't win for losing. Why? Because y'all don't want him to be a threat to Terence Crawford's legacy. Y'all will understand exactly where Jaronennis is coming from if he wasn't trying to fight Terence Crawford. And I'm starting to notice that with boxing fans. When it was Lomachenko ducking Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson and Devin fans, we told y'all about Loma. We told y'all Loma duck. Shakur Stevenson does the same exact thing, and everybody got excuses for him. Devin did the same exact thing, and everybody had excuses for him. But because Loma doesn't have a big American fan base, it's easy to say that he's the duck. When the other two fighters ain't fight Gervonta Davis neither. It was so funny when it came to Lomachenko, everybody understood. You know what some people were saying? Well, he's been trying to fight Gervonta Davis for 8 years. I proved that was wrong because Lomachenko just got out of his ESPN contract, Kambosos fight. He was not allowed to fight nowhere else but ESPN. That's why if you look at his last 6 fights, they have all been on ESPN. You can't even refute that no matter what you say. You can't say you wanted to fight Gervonta Davis for 8 years, but then thought that Gervonta Davis was going to fight on ESPN when we all know that that's not going to happen. If you fight Gervonta Davis, is going to be on pay-per-view. At minimum, we know that part. That's why Lomachenko wasn't able to even try to negotiate a fight with Gervonta Davis until now. That he backed out of, I might add. It's a shame that this is what boxing has come to, and this is why Jaronennis and Gervonta Davis are in my top 3 pound-for-pound fighters, because I'm tired of the excuses. It can't be Boots the B-side. It's his job to make the fight happen. You shouldn't have left out of the WBO and all of this nonsense, right? But then when it comes to Brian Norman Jr. and he's the A side, it's his fault that the fight not happening too when he offered the man the most money he's ever been paid. But if Jaronennis would have did that same exact thing that Brian Norman Jr. is doing with Boots, if Jaronennis did that same exact thing with Terence Crawford, the whole boxing community be calling him a duck. So don't get mad at me for calling Don't get mad at me for calling Brian Norman Jr. a duck, because I'm not hypocritical like y'all. I keep the same energy with everybody. I keep the same energy with everybody, including Williams Zepeda, who I'm going to talk about a little bit later as well. But it's funny how everybody can see that Williams Zepeda ducked Shakur, but can't see how Shakur ducked Gervonta. Hypocrisy at its finest. And I'm going to keep exposing these narratives, because ain't nobody going to expose it the way I am, because I'm not giving you nowhere to go. I'm not giving you hypotheticals or none of that. No, this is a fact. If Jaronennis turned down 12x, his biggest payday, to fight to fight Terence Crawford, y'all crucifying. There is no argument about that. So make sure you keep that same energy with every other fighter who does it. Don't ask me to hold Williams Zepeda and Lomachenko accountable, but you're not going to hold Brian Norman Jr. accountable. You could kick rocks barefoot. Y'all know what this is. Game by any means. And I holla at y'all.